thank you for joining me this morning. I think very timely now that a couple of months has passed since the Integrate 2025 and the AETM K-12 conference, which you headed up this year. So just want to have a chat to you about the outcomes from this year and the direction of that collaboration and the conference going forward. So we might just start with a formal introduction. So Mark Holbert, and you are the AV manager at Barker College in Sydney. Is that right?
That's correct. That's my day job, and I've been here for coming up on 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you've formerly been involved with the AETM, which, for those who don't know, the acronym is the Australian Education Technology Management Association. Is that correct?
No,
Did I get that? No.
It's a good one. AETM.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this off the top of my head. The Association for Audiovisual and Educational Technology Management.
There you go. So I got that one wrong. Yes.
Yeah. Say that 10 times fast. Yes.
Well,
correct. Yeah.
Integrate has enjoyed that long-standing relationship with the AETM, and we do a number of initiatives with the AETM at Integrate, the IEP, so the Integrate Education Program, which primarily has been targeted towards the sort of the tertiary sector. Historically, if we go back, I think the first K-12 conference was launched back in 2019 in Melbourne as part of Integrate, and then obviously for obvious reasons we had a few years break there because of COVID and what have you, but it's sort of come back quite well over the last 3-4 years. Certainly this year we saw really good attendance and interest in the K-12 conference, and I'm quite excited about the prospect of what's ahead of us and how we can collaborate going forward. So love to get your perspective on what worked this year and your sort of vision for where that might go in the future.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Yeah, correct. I guess going back to the ATM as well, I guess for those who aren't aware, of it, the association's been around for quite a while now, founded by those working in AV in tertiary education, so universities primarily. And as you said, it's had a foothold in K-12 for quite a while. Yeah, I'm coming up on 2 years as part of the ATM committee, and my focus is K-12. So yeah, I think finding a way to represent all the K-12 AV professionals out there across the country, across the region, I guess, because we also look after our region, not just Australia. Yeah, that's kind of where the ATM steps in. And K-12, most people in K-12 AV tend to be a department of one. There's a few lucky schools that have, a team, but one of the tricky things, I guess, for people working in their own department is, bouncing ideas off people is hard. Getting ideas of, like having maybe that collaborative approach to tackling a solution or coming up with, an approach to something is harder. So, one of the most powerful ways that we can help them is by bringing them together, and they can hear from other schools. They can just have chats. I've heard the best thing about it is the morning tea breaks, because you just get to talk to someone who does exactly the same job as you at another place, and they've probably done the same thing you have, or they've got the same problem. So that's I guess where the ATM is trying to step in and help our AV professionals in K-12.
Yeah. So really a network of I guess talent and thought leadership that you can draw upon if you have a challenge, and as a community. So it's a fantastic thing, and I know that speaking to the members over the past years, it's very valued to have that connection and having peers in similar roles.
Absolutely. And the nice thing is too that the universities and schools, I think schools are starting to maybe become more similar to universities in the way that they can approach AV. So I think there's a lot of learning that can take place. Which is, it makes the ATM, I'd say even more powerful again. Just based on the way the industry has changed, and maybe some of these higher end equipment becoming more affordable for a school has kind of moved the schools into that space too, which I think is it's great.
Do you see a lot of technology trends, or big change, I should say, in that sort of typical classroom? Has it changed a lot over the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, I think the networks, AV over IP is almost you'd almost call it a default architecture now. And so for so many schools, being able to understand how to put AV on a school network, I'm sure I'm not alone in having lots of difficult discussions with the school network team who wants your AV to stay away, and then having to have those overarching strategic decisions about, no, this is why this is a good idea, and this is what it can do, and this is what allows us to do. And all of a sudden, where it wouldn't have been that long ago that a classroom in any school would have been a standalone environment, that it has its controller and you've got your display and you've got your audio, but really that's as far as it goes. I think now the ability for an entire fleet to be remotely managed, things like power on, power off, firmware upgrades, all that kind of stuff can be done and automated. All the ability to send audio through the entire school over the network, from anywhere to anywhere, that kind of thing. I think that's really the big change. And I see more and more schools jumping on that now, really leveraging the network and AV as an industry moving onto the network. I think that's, the fact it's now pretty much the default is that's the most powerful, the biggest change I've seen recently in schools.
Okay. No doubt that was also an integral part of the content this year at the K-12 conference. I'm sure that would have been part of the discussions. Do you want to give us maybe just a little bit of a recap from this year around some of the themes as a segue from what you just said, and also, maybe where you see the conference going, and if people want to get involved or they want to maybe share their thought leadership, or indeed if they want to come on board as sponsors, how we can facilitate that for them for 2026.
Sure, absolutely. So I guess to start off and recapping this year's conference, it was great. So it's a half day on the first day of Integrate at ICC Sydney. I would say this year was a very jam-packed, very full program, which is great. We had we didn't everything that we could have put in the program, we didn't, and we still had a really jam-packed program. But essentially, it was made up of 3 of our AETM member schools presented. We had a couple of sponsor presentations. We also had a short presentation regarding the AV industry itself, and then we had some break times for people to chat and share stories and stuff like that. So in terms of our member school presentations, we had Liam Strain from the Scots College, who spoke about I guess what I was talking about before with AV over IP was essentially rolling out a campus-wide PA network, which was used for paging, public address, evacuation, lockdown, that kind of stuff. So he shared his stories about how he got that off the ground from essentially nothing to a fully integrated working system. We had David Bircher from Bradford College in Canberra, who gave us essentially an overview of some of the larger projects he's done over the years, and I guess his process as for managing these projects and how he approached them, essentially being the driving force and the designer and the I guess all the vision and seeing it through from a concept through to a delivered project. It was great. And then our last was Benjamin Tranter from ACC Marsden Park, and he spoke about their production suites and the way they approach kind of integrating AV into the curriculum. So from photography, filmmaking, and they've got essentially a purpose-built space with a number of rooms that kind of look more at the AV technology, but more on the production side of AV and how that integrates into the curriculum, how they've made that a real focus for the school. I think all 3 presentations were really well received by our attendees, and showed three very different parts of AV. But I think they showed, how strong AV is in schools. And speaking to some of our attendees who were actually from universities, I think they were maybe a little surprised that they weren't sure. They almost had this impression of, schools being, very basic classrooms, and whereas I think what they saw was maybe open their eyes a bit as to what's actually happening in K-12 schools. Our sponsor presentations, we had Sennheiser and Vivi sponsoring us this year, so they both presented about some of their technology and their approach to technology being used in learning and in the classroom. Again, really great to have their insights as well and their support of the event. And I think the sponsors, I think there was really good engagement with them during and then after. I think maybe K-12 people feel a little more seen by those sponsors and realize, they do care about us, and we are a viable part of the industry that these companies are definitely interested in. So that was a real positive. And then Michael Broadbent from Midwich, who heads up a group called the AV Industry Task Force, essentially looking at the AV workforce of the future. I guess addressing the issue that that even though we work in a very techie, very cutting edge industry, very few young people seem to want to join the party. So there's a number of companies, integrators, vendors, who are all represented on this task force, and they're essentially tackling this idea of how do we attract more young people? And I think the reason why Michael was so keen to present this year was we are we're the people in AV that are essentially are interacting with these kids from the ages of 3 to 18 day in day out. This is where the future of the industry is, and so that was the approach there. So all in all, I think it was a really, really successful event. Attendance was up again over the previous years, which is really nice to see. And all the feedback I've received since, we did publish a survey that we had some responses from, and overall, overwhelmingly positive feedback about the event, which I think is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We're certainly very proud to be able to host the AETM and the conference at Integrate, and very keen to obviously continue working with the AETM and you, Mark, in developing the conference and making it even bigger and better going forward. So as technology evolves, and sounds like it is evolving at a rapid pace, that's a good forum for the industry to get together and learn about these developments.
Absolutely. I've often thought that I learn the most about AV when I go see how someone else has rolled it out. And getting a chance to visit another school is really, really powerful. Even if they use completely different technology or they've got a completely different approach, you'll always come away with some idea. Even going to a small primary school or something like that, I'm still like, that's interesting that they're doing, even though you would think on the surface that there'd be nothing in common. It's amazing how much you can learn just by getting out and about and seeing people. But the logistics of that are tricky. You've got to find a time when someone else is going to be available at the same time. You've got to travel out there during a school day to take a look around. So I guess maybe the next best thing is events like our K-12 conference and Integrate. We've got a room full of AV people working in K-12. We've got people sharing, stories about about projects they've done, which kind of does gets the conversation going. And it's great popping in those conversations during morning tea break. How people are just they almost want the morning tea break to be a couple of hours long so they can get through all the conversations. So
I mean, our surveys show that networking, not just at the conference but at Integrate itself, networking is a huge part of it. Just having that, as you said, that informal ability to have those chats and the incidental learnings that you get from having that networking and discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, thanks for sharing some of those insights. We'll we'll certainly share some of the details around if you want to get involved next year, how to get involved. We'll share that so that they can contact myself or you, Mark, and we can then steer them in the right direction. So it's slated for the 2nd of September 2026 at the ICC, and typically the conference is a half-day conference, so it goes from 8 a.m. to about midday. So that's the plan for 26. But I also want to just give you a quick plug too, because you've got another conference in the meantime, which is the actual AETM conference, which is on in Sydney at the UTS before too long.
Correct. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, the 24th of November, the 24th to, I hope I'm getting my dates right, 24th to the 27th, I think. At UTS Sydney. So this is the ATM's flagship event. And it moves around the country every year. Last year we were in Adelaide at Flinders University. Obviously this year we're in Sydney at UTS. And it's 3.5 days of a completely immersive conference where when people arrive at about lunchtime on the Monday through to when they leave at lunchtime on Thursday, there's pretty much wall-to-wall activity. Whether it's training sessions, whether it's member presentations, sponsor presentations. We have a ATM Awards dinner in the middle of it, which is on a harbour cruise this year. It's great. So you're essentially with other AV professionals in education for the best part of 4 days. The exciting thing for me about this year's conference is that we actually have 2 K-12 professionals presenting at the conference, which hasn't happened before. So 2 Bens, Ben Darwell from the Anglican Schools Corporation and Ben Cotton from Trinity Grammar here in Sydney have both applied and have been accepted as presenters. So they're both on the program as well, which is great. And I think it's a real feather in their caps. And I think it also maybe is a demonstration of K-12 being maybe growing up a bit, and I guess the fact that what people are working in K-12 schools are working on really has relevance now, even for a room full of people working in universities. So that's I think that's quite exciting. Looking forward to both of them.
So if people out there didn't know about the conference and they wanted to attend, is that still possible for this year? And secondly, do you have to be a member to attend?
Now, becoming a member is fairly straightforward. AETM.org. AETM.org is our website. Everything's there. There's a membership tab and stuff like that. All the details are there. And registration, I believe, yes, is still available. Absolutely jump on there. There's on the website you'll have all the information you need. I think the program is now published, so you'll see the full program of what's there, who's presenting, what's involved, and stuff like that. So, for anyone who's interested, obviously don't mess around, get in very quickly. But
sure,
definitely a worthwhile event.
All right, well, I really appreciate the time this morning, Mark, and thanks for the chat. It's pretty exciting for the AETM and the K-12 community and Integrate indeed. So look forward to the continued collaboration and look forward to seeing you in a few weeks at UTS.
Thanks, Soren, and thanks to you and to the whole Integrate team for your support of AETM and the K-12 conference. I think it seems to be going from strength to strength, and looking forward to next year's event and on to the future.